Hey guys, welcome to another exciting episode of the Stash Report from the Stash Project. Today is the 26th of February 2016, and a little short show here for you. Not really a lot seemed to fall out of the release wins this week, although we are sort of running out of the month of February and running out of the things that should be coming out, but there are, even after what we're going to talk about today, still, let's see, 4 kits from Fujimi still out there, and a couple things from Aoshima, and of course the Mobius kits have yet to hit distributors as of yet this month as they were supposed to, so more than likely the 70 Ford Custom Model King Edition and the 65 Belvedere 1 are going to end up being March releases unless they come out tomorrow, or I should say Monday, because that will be the last day of the month. Monday is a leap year this year, so we got that extra day of February for everybody to try to cram their things into, but I don't think it's going to happen. So we will be back next week with our normal monthly compilation video of everything you should expect in March, so look forward to that if you're not seeing what you wanted to see this month, but that's really it. There's no kit announcements per se this week. We did see, and actually I believe they're actually already been issued, because the other things that were with it are now also issued. Studio 27 did a set of seat decals, giving you different color combinations for the plaid on the Mercedes 300 SL. They also did a set of decals for the 1954 and 1955, what they called Rally and Races. Now, I haven't actually seen the decal sheet, so I can't tell you what rallies and races were actually part of this decal sheet, but it was going to be multiple options, obviously, to build gull-wing race cars. And then they did the one for 2003, I think it was. They ran one at Bonneville on the Salt Flats, so they did a set of decals for that as well. I'll try to get some pictures of those decal sheets, or at least the placement guides when they start popping up in places, because I ordered the set of SLS AMG GT3 decals that were with that offered at the same time, and it was literally like they were offered on a Monday. They came into pre-order and offered on Monday, announced on Monday, came into pre-order Tuesday, and then Friday they came in. The order was fulfilled, so it was literally like these are the kits. Here they are for a pre-order. The next day they were on order stop, and Friday they showed up. So it was a very quick run of a few decal sheets and some parts for the Ebro MP430 F1 car. So that's really the only kind of information there is, other than the fact that a few things here are obviously going to slide backwards into March. Speaking of March and news, the Escorts, the Bell Kit rally cars, are, of course, they left quite a while ago on their boat ride to Europe, and they were supposed to go through the Suez Canal tomorrow night, which will, of course, connect the Red Sea into the Mediterranean, and then it's on to mainland Europe. So those look like they're on schedule to come out mid-part of next month. So, like I said, that leaves us with a few kit releases here this week. One last domestic release that had not shown up yet that came out this week is the reissue of the AMT American LaFrance Arrow Chief. Technically, this is not a ladder truck. I see it listed as a ladder truck a lot of times. This is a bucket aerial truck. This, of course, is a straight reissue of the Arrow Chief in the same version and same variation it's always been in. I don't think it's one of these kits that never got changed over the years. The only sort of new thing about this is that Round 2 is starting with this kit a new collaboration with Cartograph to do the decals. So you're going to have sort of the original decal sheet that has always come with this. You get the city of Troy on the box art here for back when AMT was in Troy, Michigan, along with pretty much all of the other cities that were there, and then a large compilation of other just alphabet and numbers, so you can sort of try to do your own department, or represent other departments that had Arrow Chiefs. This was a real truck. It wasn't just a fantasy that AMT came up with back in the day. It's a reasonably decent kit. It's like, I don't know, 300 parts I think is what this works out to be. It's more parts than the pumper truck had, and that was like 2 something. But beyond that, it's sort of what you expected. So unless you don't have one and don't have access to any around. This is really only being, interesting for having a fresh set of decals. Obviously, Cartograph probably the easiest place they could get gold leaf decals done. This is old school fire trucking here, where everything was done in that hand painted gold leaf style fonts and painting, back when they actually painted things and they were decals or vinyl wraps and things like that. But beyond that, it is what it is. There's no new parts or anything else in here, and there was nothing ever lost, so there's nothing newly tooled, and no tires, probably the same tires it's always had. That takes us overseas. There were a couple of reissues from Aoshima this week. One is the Subaru BRZ with the engine. This was the one that does include the engine. Also has a left-hand drive part, so you can build a North American U.S. spec BRZ. It's a really, if you're trying to get one of the BRZs or the 86 Scion FRS to build just as a street car and not do anything else with, trying to make a rocket bunny out of it or anything else, these are pretty much the kits you want to look for, the ones with the engine, because the engine is like 18, 19 pieces. It's a really, really detailed engine. It's much better kit in that department, so to speak, than the Tamiya kits that were done. Also, the Tamiya kits also are only right-hand drive Japanese spec models, whereas the Aoshima ones, obviously you can see right there underneath the BRZ, says it includes LHD, that's left-hand drive parts, and the Toyota 86, of course, includes not only the 86 parts, but the 86 GT parts to make the European version, and the Scion FRS parts to make the North American spec. So you really get all of the options to build the Toyota one. The Toyota one hasn't been run recently, I don't think. It's not like years and years, but it hasn't been recently. This reissue here for the BRZ is the most recent, other than the Rocket Bunnies, which don't have the engine in it. The other two things out of Aoshima this week are the Lamborghini Countach LP400 photo etch detail upset that comes with wiring and the seatbelt material and all the rest of that stuff, and the Aventador Coupe photo etch set that includes the floor mats and the seatbelt materials, metal transfers, and all the photo etch. Some of the photo etch will fit the Roadster, and very few pieces will fit the 50th Anniversario, because the 50th Anniversario has all of the new front and rear intakes and whatnot, and it won't really fit that. I still say that if you're going to build the Aoshima Lamborghini Aventador, you need this photo etch set for nothing else than all of the intakes. The actual kit itself, when they did it, not particularly well thought out, but it was later rectified in the Roadster and the 50th Anniversario, is the fact that in the original LP704 kit, all of the intakes are represented by clear pieces that you put decals over, and it kind of looks like the ass that sounds like. So if you want to build one, I know it sort of takes it out of the realm of box stock for a lot of people, and some people are a little nervous about photo etch, and I get that, but this is factory photo etch, so it does fit without having to worry about that. It really, really improves the look of a Aoshima Aventador a gajillion times over having decals on clear pieces of plastic. Fujimi had 3 releases this week as well. They're still, like I said, 4 short for the month, so we'll see if they come out on Monday, but I'm guessing not. They'll just sort of drag into March. The 2 cars, well, let's do this first. The one F1 car that has been released out of the 3 that were supposed to come out this month is the 1989 McLaren Honda MP45. You could build this as either the Monaco or Spain Grand Prix cars. I haven't really delved into the instructions enough to know what's different about them other than maybe some markings. I do know from looking just at the markings sheet that there are some differences between the 2 races as far as the decals go. Like every race car produced since the late 1980s, you will, however, have to go source some Marlboro decals for this, because we have to save all the children from the evil tobacco companies. And there are no Marlboro logos for this car. Now, I'm pretty sure Taboo Graphics has done a set, considering this kit is a reissue. It's not a new tool by any stretch of the imagination. So if they haven't done one in the past, they will probably do one next month. And if they have done one in the past, they'll reissue it next month, because that tends to be the way they go with things. And they are I think that's sort of the shtick behind the Taboo part of the Taboo graphics, is they're, putting out stuff that, is too dangerous to put in regular model kits. They did of course the option sheet for the TA64 Celica that include the Marlboro logos, and then they just did full decal sets for the 85, 86 rallies. I believe it was the Safari Rally for 84 and 86, because you get the 85 with the kit, and then the 84 and 86 Ivory Coast rally, and both of those, of course, sponsored by Marlboro, so you had to have all the little Marlboro logos that aren't in the kit added into that decal sheet. On the 124, this is a full detail kit, does have what looks to be a full engine in it from just sort of glancing at the parts in the background and a few other pages of the instruction sheet. But, I'm not a 120 scale guy. I'm not an F1 guy, but I know that some of you are, so I just keep, we'll keep, following the announcements and the kit releases to keep you guys informed, but don't expect me to have some sort of opinion as to whether or not it's a good kit, bad kit, or what, because I don't build them, and I don't know anybody. I know some people that do, but I don't know them well enough that we're having conversations like, oh, well, that kit's coming back out. What do you think? So the other two kits that have come out this week from Fujimi are also reissues, but they're sort of repackaged reissues. This is the Nissan Laurel. Let me see here. I lost my place on the paperwork to describe this. The Nissan Laurel Medalist, the HC33 being the generation this is. You do get two entire sets of wheels and tires with this kit. You get the regular sort of factory stock wheels and tires that would come with the car from the factory, and then you get these Longchamps that are on the box art, along with wheels that specifically fit those Longchamp option wheels. You can build this as a Medalist S or a Medalist L. It appears to be like one piece, and some decals are the only two differences between the two. But it is an option that is actually not even mentioned on the sales part of it. I'm trying to think what the other thing about this is, window masks for the first time. These were two. This is another example of two separate kits. The Medalist L and the Medalist S were sold separately, and one had the factory stock wheels and one had the Longchamp. So you get the whole shebang in one box here. Build it however you want to. The other one is a reissue of the Nissan Cedric / Gloria V30 Turbo Brougham VIP, the Y31 being the generation of the thing. This is early 1980s, I want to say, or maybe mid-1980s. This is very much like the, I'm trying to think what they call that, the Gran Turismo Super Veloce, the kit that came out last month. It basically has a different front bumper. And I believe a couple of different interior pieces that are sort of, this is the luxury version, if you will, and the Super Veloce Gran Turismo is the sporty version. So this is the same sort of kit. Both this and actually the Laurel share the same chassis. It's a very, very basic, not motorized, but very basic chassis, and everything is engraved on the bottom, for the exception of the exhaust and some of the suspension components that are different, but otherwise the plate between these two is exactly the same. It may be legitimate in real life. I don't know enough about the cars to say, well, that's a wrong or that's a right, but know that it's not, anything in depth. It's not a new chassis. It's from the 1980s, 1990s. But it's not motorized in the way that the best car vintage things are. You can build this car either as a Cedric, which is what the I would say camel yellow is what I believe that to be, or the Gloria, which is the black car. Basically, the only thing that really interchanges between the two as far as changing from the Cedric to the Gloria is the front grille is different, and then the rear taillight panel is different. Also, there's a few interior differences, steering wheels, things like that. Much like the Gran Turismo Super Veloce, for some reason this includes left-hand drive dashboards. I'm not sure it includes left-hand drive wipers or not. I have to go look at my kits, but it does include left-hand drive dashboards. I guess these were exported out of Japan into countries that they drive on the left-hand side of the road. So, it would be the right-hand side of the road to have left-hand drive, but drive on the correct side of the road for us Americans. Huddle, that old gag. But if you track down the Aoshima versions of these Y31s, they are only right-hand drive Japanese versions. So I guess they must have exported them someplace. I'm not going to go dig up. I really don't care. But just, if you wanted to do the gag of, importing one into the United States as your backstory, you can at least import one that has the dashboard on the correct side of the car for the U.S. This does include window masks for the first time. I want to say this kit has always been sold this way, as far as being you could build it either way. The Turbo Brougham versus the Gran Turismo SV. Those two have always been separate kits. So I suppose they could have really done like a 4-in-1 where they could have included both bumpers, and then you could have built it one of 2 different cars in 4 different ways, sort of things. But they didn't go that route, obviously. And yeah, that's it. So we got 4 Fujimi kits. They're all race cars, 2 F1 cars, and 2 GT3 cars. And there's a set of 3 sets of wheels and a model kit and a detail upset missing out of Aoshima. The Mobius kits, might as well just kiss those goodbye into March. And that's pretty much it as it stands right now. Then we go into March. So, like I said, a couple days when we have the official Revell releases for March. We'll do the compilation video because I've got everything else. And anyway, well, you guys have a good weekend, and we'll see you guys on the other side.